Hello, friends. We are very, very close to Duckfest. If you are listening to this on the early feed, you're 2 weeks away. And if you're listening to this as it goes public, you are 1 week away. Go to Duckfeed.tv/Duckfest for all ticketing details. It's going to be a full day of podcasting. We're going to do a live Days of Future cast that I'm very excited for. We have developed an amazing plan. It's going to be exciting, but there's going to be a ton of other shows as well. So come out. Duckfeed.tv/Duckfest.
I don't get it. I'm agile. I got this killer tongue. How could I be left behind? Twice.
I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we watch terrible Marvel cartoons because we really liked the X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, and then we did a podcast about it, and we ran out of the good stuff, and now we're just into all of the bad stuff, Gary.
We still like the show, and we still like it, or we still like the X-Men, we still like each other. We still like the podcast.
What is the abject suffering? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are you doing this to us? Like, why are we doing this? There's infinite media in the world that people can listen to. There's not us complaining about X-Men Evolution. And here's
the thing too, dude. There's like straight up, like I haven't watched Legion yet. Like there's X-Men media that is super good that we haven't covered yet. Like we could literally pull the ripcord on this at any time. Maybe it's worth talking about because this is horseshit. And I know that people are like, we're not making any friends because people are either sick of us complaining or they're sick of us apologizing for complaining. Mm-hmm. You know, nobody's happy. We get it. I totally get it. It's just not a good cartoon. I don't blame anybody. Like, it's not like, people told me it was good and it's not good. I'm not mad. It's just, it's really terrible. Like,
there's these last two episodes. I had a degree of hope that, like, okay, we got our first two-parter. We're going to be Magneto's there. They mentioned Asteroid M, so we're going to be X-Men are going to be doing some X-Men shit. Because I was thinking about this as I was driving today. Also, almost got run off the road today. You know,
jeez!
An 18-wheeler literally honked his horn and like came into my lane and tried to run me off the road. Just fucking,
good Lord.
It was terrifying. It was the most terrifying car experience I've had before. And I've been run over by a truck. So yeah, and I don't, hashtag fuck cops, but I pulled over and called the state police and reported him as a drunk driver because fuck him.
Very smart, right? Like, and he's a danger to other people. Like,
yeah, exactly. Like I wasn't even doing anything. I don't know what the fuck point was, but anyway, I was thinking about this as I was driving today. Like, this is a season of X-Men events that have very little X-Men shit happening at all. Like, it's mostly just kids. It's mostly just stories about teens that happen to have some powers. Like, we haven't done any X-Men shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
I feel like we're just missing Sentinels and time travel and weirdness and supervillains and, like, I'm just none of the stuff that I like about the X-Men is really present in this.
Well, and here's the thing. We like the kids.
Yes.
That is the thing about X-Men that we like, right? But I think that what X-Men Evolution is teaching us is we don't like the kids in a vacuum. Like, the kids, it's a recipe, it's a ratio, Like, we like it when it deals with the kids and the X-Men, but the kids are interesting because they are regular-ass children who are being forced to kind of bat above their weight class and deal with X-Men shit. Mm-hmm. Like, just a teenage mutant is not interesting on their own if all they're doing is, like, going to high school and pranking each other and stuff. Then the fact that they are X-Men or mutants or anything is immaterial. A teenage mutant is interesting because they're doing all that stuff while also dealing with Sentinels. Like, also dealing with X-Men shit. It is basically the Marvel method. It's like the whole Stan Lee's Spider-Man thing where it's like, yes, he's a superhero, but he also has to deal with his real life. And both parts of those are important. I think that, like, X-Men Evolution and some of the, like, fandom that it has, I think, are people who just value that side of it, like the teen drama side of it, way more than I do. Like, when talking about the X-Men, like, I love it when the focus is on the kids, but there's other stuff happening.
Yeah,
this is just the kids.
Again, X-Men shit. Yeah. Like, I need something to fly in from outer space every once in a while. And I hate outer space X-Men shit, but it's still X-Men shit.
Like it's bad when you're like, man, when will they get the Savage Land? Like, I need the Shi'ar to show up right now.
I need to go to the fucking Savage Land, Gary. Get these kids out of school already. Let them graduate. Oh, man. Do you think, you mentioned something right there when you said Teenage Mutants. Do you think that there was a moment in the 80s where somebody was explaining Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to Stan Lee, and he, like, got real serious until he heard Ninja Turtles at the end of it? Like, excuse me? Oh, okay. All good.
Yeah, likely. And then somebody sold his blood. Because Stan Lee's got a very sad story.
Someone sold Stan Lee's blood? I didn't know that story.
Yeah,
Jesus.
he had a manager who was like abusing him and stealing his money for the last like 5 or 10 years of his life, and one of the things they did was steal and sell his blood.
Fucking weird, dude. That's
yeah,
so sad.
it's horrific. Yeah, it's really sad. Elder abuse is really fucked up.
Did you? I heard today. This has nothing to do with the X-Men. But Sandra Day O'Connor. Is I saying her? Sandra, right? Yeah. The Chief Justice or whatever. Her husband had Alzheimer's. And so, like, eventually it got to the point where she couldn't care for him anymore. So she got put him in a home, and like she would come to visit him. And eventually it got so bad that he forgot about her entirely. And then he fell in love with another woman. So she would like go visit her husband, and he would tell her excitedly about his date with this other woman that he's totally in love with. And she was like, you know what? He's my husband, and I love him, and this makes him happy. So I'm not going to like stop this or anything, but it just, I was literally like, I'm hearing this on a fucking podcast about The Good Place, and I'm just almost in tears about it. And I'm like, what? Mark Evan Jacobs, really what are you doing to me? Stop it, Mark.
Yeah. That's just really sad.
Yeah.
There's, remember there's the Radio Lab about the guy who had no long-term memory or had no short-term memory. So like he couldn't, every day he like woke up, whenever he woke up from sleeping or whatever, he's in a care home, and like, every day he just didn't know where he was. He had to have everything explained to him, and it was just like torturous existence. But somewhere very deep in his mind, he remembered his wife. And his wife would come and visit him, and he would just be so overjoyed at the presence of like anything familiar. And they play audio from it, and it's the only time a podcast has ever made me cry. It is so touching to just hear like the scared, like desperation kind of joy in his voice. It was like one of those really concrete examples of love to me, where I'm just like, man, that's a really powerful, real thing.
Yeah, that's significant.
That can break through this, and it just, as somebody, consider myself a romantic, like it is, it was just really, really touching. And this is kind of related to that, right? Like love is real and complicated. Unlike X-Men Evolution.
The last 2 episodes of X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, this is coming out the week before Duckfest, so you probably don't have time to do that. But if you happen to be listening and are in driving distance of Portland, come to Duckfest. Duckfeed.tv /Duckfest. We
have listeners in the Pacific Northwest. Like you could definitely do this as probably. You could do this as a day trip. You live in Eugene. Jump on the fucking Amtrak.
Absolutely.
Come on up for a day. It's going to be a really good time. Promises, and a lot of people have asked, like, are you going to do anything with the recordings? We think we're going to do them as the Duck Bundle, so we're going to sell them for charity. So keep an eye out for that if you can't make it. It is going to be a good charity bundle.
I am very excited to meet Duckfeed fans. Like, this is going to be extremely bizarre and a weird weekend for me. Like, I had to take off work and I have to tell people about this because they're like, oh, you're going on vacation. What's happening? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do a podcast. And they're like, what? Like, nobody understands this shit at all. And now all of a sudden people know I do podcasts. So like, I'm just terrified that they're going to stumble onto me talking about Gambit's dick. So
the sooner they know, the better, and better they hear it from you than me.
It's true.
It also like the case, is that like we're just starting this out. We have no illusions about like what we're going to sell, and the theater doesn't seat that many even in the first place. So the cool thing about this, and the reason why I encourage people to go, is that like if we keep doing this, if the network continues to grow, which like I have no control over, but I hope it does, this is probably going to be the smallest and most intimate one of these that we've done.
Yeah.
So like, we're going to have the theater, which should be, relatively, small, again, kind of setting small performance. And then when we do the meetup afterwards, like it's going to be like a party, like a relatively, sizable for a party, but small for like a podcast festival. So like a lot of touch, like a lot of, and by touch, I mean like, contact, being able to talk to everybody and stuff. I think it's going to have the feeling of a pretty intimate gathering, which I think is cool. I think that's going to be really fun. I want to meet people that I've never met before. I want to hang out with everybody, and hang out with you, and like Cole, who I don't see only see a couple times a year. And it's always nice to see Will.
Sure.
Will, but like,
you see him a lot, but he's around.
Yeah, he's a cherry on top.
Yeah.
He's a cherry boy. So there's going to be, and like the other people from the guest podcast, they're really fun. I'm sure they'll be hanging out. It's going to be really great.
I like that you pitched this as intimate, because it just made me feel like, oh yeah, this will be like catching Radiohead when they were on their first tour, right? Like this is when they were like coming up with, Creep or whatever, and you saw them at the local club that has 100 people in it or something. And I am definitely the Tom York of the group, so come and hang out with me.
When the song was originally about a river and it was called Creek, and then somebody came up and was like, "Listen, Mister York,
it's not really working. You got to
change the name of this. Nobody cares about this dumb brook behind your house, dude." Like,
because there's a creek.
Yeah, just look at me when I'm talking to you. I can't. So yeah, it's gonna be a blast. Yeah, so if you're listening to this, come. Moving on, we are talking about 2 episodes today, the final 2-parter of the season, the Cauldron Part 1 and Part 2. Scott is reunited with his brother Alex, who is recruited by Magneto to join him. Very terse and very accurate.
Yeah, IMDb doesn't give you much flavor on these things, and
no.
I could not be bothered to go to the actual like Wikipedia page for this and pull it from there. So here we are.
Yeah.
We opened with Scott and Jean coming back to the X Mansion. I just happened to notice for the first time that Scott's like cool red sports car that he has X wheels.
It has racing stripes.
Has
X wheels and racing stripes. It's like a speed racer car.
It's kind of. It's not cool because it's Scott, but like it's almost cool.
Yeah. It's and it's just kind of funny. Mm-hmm. Here again, Xavier paying the kids with cars.
Yep. Scott gets out. He's extremely excited. It's the weekend, and Jean is like, "What is that in the trees?" And it's just Toad, just like trying to beat the shit out of Jean for no reason. It's so weird.
just batting way above his weight class again. And it's really dumb. This should be some action. And to Jean's credit, she's not really taking it seriously. Like, hey, okay, Talansky, what are you doing? And he's just trying to beat her up, but he forgets that she is a world-class telekinetic, and he can jump and eats bugs, and that's his power. And smells like armpit.
Yeah, because having the ability to jump prevents you from taking a shower every day. That's the way that works.
Exactly. Keep jumping out of the shower. So this goes on for a very long time. He's just kind of like, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to take you out. She eventually throws him into a well, which is fucking harsh. It's just like, well, you're trapped now, you piece of shit. Die here. Like, she Amontillato's him.
Do you think she knew that there was water at the bottom of that, or was this like, because you can fall down there and become a Batman. You need to watch out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Bat Toad.
I am the protector of the night.
Then this episode starts showing its colors, right? Because like right now it's just pretty basic, and it's like, okay, like that's some kind of field trip or some horseshit. But then the fucking prison orbs start showing up. There's a big steel orb that shows up with tentacles that Jean Grey forgets she has powers and uses tentacles to suck Jean Grey into the orb and fly up into space.
And then if that wasn't weird enough, Toad climbs out using his tongue and says, "Oh, that should have been me." And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is... Please establish anything. Just establish a single thing that you were doing right now so I understand what the fuck is going on.
Everyone want orb.
Yeah.
So we'll find out a lot about orb during this. We get the intro. And then we fast forward, we see a dude in a tropical setting. And this is Alex Summers. Mm-hmm. So this is our first introduction of Havoc in the show, who is very surfer dude, very slipstream in this. And he's out in the water getting ready to surf, enjoying the sun, kind of laying on his back. But something comes up from below, and it's a shark.
The X-Men's most powerful villain, the Great White
Shark. Yep. The X-Men versus Sentinels. Magneto, Apocalypse, a shark.
Yes, just one single shark. I love it so much. It's so fucking dumb and hilarious. I really, really like this. Alex, I don't know. I was trying to remember like Havoc's power. Like I know he has the suit with the rings, but like in this, he just does like energy blast. Like it doesn't look anything like his power in the comics, right? Does he start with that? Because
no. This is wrong.
Okay.
This is immoral. What they're trying to do is make sure that you understand he's Cyclops' brother, by making him shoot the same thing Cyclops shoots, but just out of his hands instead of his eyes. But it sucks because Havoc has always had one of the most visually like distinctive and cool looking like energy signatures in comics, like those concentric rings and stuff. Those tend to just go out until he has the suit to focus it.
Yeah.
But it still looks like those cool concentric rings. It's like a uniquely drawn kind of thing. It doesn't have to be a comic only thing. It could be done animated, but they're just kind of lazy and they just do it as energy, red energy beams.
Yeah, I didn't understand what they were going for here, and there's this whole through line of like how it hurts him to be a mutant that we've literally never heard of before, and I can't wait to get into.
No, yeah,
but he shoots the shark. He has to shoot the shark twice because the shark needs to be told. He has to learn that lesson twice.
Yep.
Be careful, or I'm going to honor you again, shark. And then he goes onto the beach where he we go back from here. We go to Cerebro, where Xavier has been spying on Alex Summers.
Yes, it seems one of our mutants has been attacked by a shark, Logan. Let's watch. I could take over the mind of the shark, but I choose not to. Let's see how he does.
Oh my god, I've never thought that Xavier could just be Aquaman if he wanted to. Like he could literally.
Do you think he could?
I don't know. Could he?
I know. Yeah. I don't know if he's ever done anything with animals. If he could get
this is
their
worth
minds.
a Google. Control.
It's gonna put you on some kind of list.
Xavier has done this, despite the fact that Animal's brain is a different beast entirely from that of a human, and that speaking English is clearly not an option. Xavier's animal communication trick once again showcases the many forms that his power can take on.
Yeah. So, he just kind of decides to see how it plays out. Let's run out the tape on Alex getting attacked by the shark. And he knows that Alex is Scott's brother. He thought Alex was dead, which begs the question: what the fuck did Xavier do with his time all day? Like, why is he just now getting to? Like, there's only 50 states. Like, why is he just now getting to wherever this is?
Yeah.
Assuming this, for some reason I thought it was Hawaii. But it could just be California. Like, this could be Florida. Why is he just now getting to this?
I don't know. Like, I guess it's because Alex's mutant powers are just now, like, coming out because he's a little bit younger than Scott. So, like, that's the first time he's popped up on Cerebro.
That could be the case.
But even, like, hey, my family died in this plane crash. Well, let's check. Let's go check that out. Let me use some of my zillions of dollars and employ a private eye and just verify that your parents are dead, bro.
Yeah. Xavier's not good at following through on the promises he makes his students.
I mean, he's good at getting the cars. He's got a good car guy. He doesn't have a good find your parents guy. Is the problem?
No, or a good help Logan with his memories guy, or help Rogue with her powers guy. Or ultimately help Jean Grey with her powers guy, or any of those things. He just gives them cars instead.
Make Kurt not be annoying guy. He doesn't have one of those.
Just wealth. So Magneto shows up on the beach.
Yes.
Here. While Alex is there, and Alex doesn't understand he's a mutant, and Magneto gives his speech about mutants, empower him being able to help.
Yeah.
And here's the first time now that Magneto is like a dude. We don't see his face just yet, but now that he's just kind of a guy in play, I think the voice actor has appropriate presence. I don't think he matches the drawing very well.
This dude has like a 10-pound voice and a 5-pound body, right? Like he just doesn't look like he'd be able to produce that amount of depth, and it's probably because he couldn't. Like if you're a skinny white dude, you can't sound like fucking Barry White. Like you just can't. Do it.
I mean, that's ultimately what it is, and I understand. Like, I'm not trying to get into any kind of racism here or anything like that, but Magneto has a black voice in this. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a big black dude, right?
Yeah.
No value judgment attached to that, but like I think it's obtuse to say that there isn't like a big black dude voice, right? It's James Earl Jones, you mentioned it, or Lawrence Fishburne, or what have you.
It's the guy that does Kratos from the recent God of War. So it's that dude has that voice essentially.
Yes.
And we've complimented it. Like whenever we've seen Magneto as like this kind of presence, or whenever he's communicated with Mystique or whatever, like he's been shrouded in shadows and all that. It was extremely dope. It's just mildly weird to see like skinny old white guy that sounds like Kratos. Like that just it's a disconnect, or it just doesn't work as well.
Now that it's just a dude. And it's also just a weird choice because everyone else is at least doing a little bit of an impersonation of another actor.
Mm-hmm.
Like this Xavier is kind of doing the cartoon Xavier, the Wolverine's doing the cartoon Wolverine, Rogue is doing the cartoon Rogue. Like everyone's kind of doing an impression, except for Magneto, who's just like, no, I'm going to go my own way. I just have a deep voice and anything I say sounds cool, so I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah.
And it's just weird.
It is. It is very weird.
Yeah, and I think if Magneto, another thing too, and this happens in the comics, this isn't specific to X-Men Evolution, it's just like a minor annoyance. But if Magneto is supposed to be like appearing harmless and trying to recruit kids, he should stop looking like a fucking ghost. Like he needs to stop looking like the fucking Phantom of the, he looks like a Star Wars villain. Like he looks like he's Darth Vader basically. Mm-hmm. Like the big cape, the evil helmet and all that stuff, like all the red, like he should show up in a suit at this point to be like, I run a school or I have an organization or something like that. Like, the medium is the message, Magneto.
Starting off with an asteroid in the sky is a pretty baller move, though. Like just to skip past the school, the university. It is pretty. I don't even have a cave like with a layer. I mean, he had a castle. We already blew up his castle, so like he went from castle to asteroid. Like it's got. Yeah. He's just taking lessons from Dr. Doom at this point. Like he's trying to outdo Dr. Doom.
It's this is Universe M. Man. So he talks about mutant powers and how he can help with it, and he basically, it sounds like he's saying he could fix it, which I was intrigued by because that's very not Magneto, right? Mm-hmm. But he basically says I can help with the hurt of this, and when we find out what helps with the hurt, listeners, you are gonna lose your shit, and we both respectively lost our shit, and we didn't watch the episode at the same time. I watched it and I was like, dude, these last episodes, and then Jeremy watched it and he's like, man, I'm losing my shit over this, and I'm like, I know!
It's fucking crazy. It's crazy, Jeremy.
It's amazing. Also, I mean, we're gonna get to it, but is that why Magneto has white hair?
It has to be, right?
In this universe?
It's
that's incredible.
It's amazing if true, right? Like huge if true. I am very confused because like we see a lot of like mutants coming into their powers in various media, but it's never like been a thing that hurts, right? Like they don't get, or maybe it is, and I just kind of skim past it. But like Magneto is kind of making it sound like you have the common cold, like you got fever and headaches, and I've got some Dayquil that you can take to take care of your mutant problems.
Bottle of water. I'm a third base coach. Come with me.
So we go back to the mansion. And basically, he convinces Alex to come along with them, and they like walk away together. We go back to the mansion, and Scott finds out about Alex, and he's kind of stressed and blaming himself. He's like, "I thought he was dead. I should have looked." And like, homie, you're a teenager. It's definitely Xavier's job. If you're looking to blame anybody, blame the bald rich guy that is directly.
You are being gaslighted. Yeah, who can detect mutants with a helmet?
They all jump in the plane with Logan and take off. And there's this other weird subplot in this just extremely weird episode where the kids all thought that they were going to Hawaii. So
that's why I thought this was Hawaii. So somewhere along the line, off camera for some reason, like someone overheard, Scott being like, "I can't believe I have to go to Hawaii," and then didn't ask Scott what was wrong or like why he has to go to Hawaii. And someone was just like, "Vacation, cool." So the rest of the kids show up thinking they're going to go to the Hawaii. And then they can't, so they all get in cars and drive to the beach. And I took this as they were driving to Hawaii, and I was like, what country was this made in? Like, do these people understand you can't do that? Like, unless in this universe there's a really long bridge,
What kind of
just super bridge?
What kind of bridge? What would it be made of, you think? The bridge to Hawaii?
Well, in this case, it would be a land bridge, Jeremy. I'm glad you asked.
Oh, cool. Interesting. Interesting that Mr. No Land Bridge Allowed is now proposing a land bridge.
Conditional land bridge. It is
fucking Elon Musk ask over here. We need a land bridge to Hawaii.
Yeah. Don't call me Elon Musk ask ever again.
No, Kurt has a line in here. He's like, well, we don't have to go Hawaii. There's local beaches, and I'm like, it's just assuming that you're in New York. Like, I've never heard anybody like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, there's the beach. You can go to like Coney Island or something like that. You're just gonna have to like swim in hypodermic needles and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that's not quite true. So they're gonna go to the beach,
right? This vehicle that they're in. Can we talk about this? This tank.
Yes.
What the fuck is this thing? We've never seen it before. It's a giant tank with an open top that they can slide off for, I guess, shooting people. Right?
It has 6 wheels.
It's got 6 wheels.
It has 6 wheels. They take an APC from Command and Conquer.
That's exactly right. Oh my god!
I don't know why. I don't know if like the idea is there's 2 cars on and here's the thing, right? If there's 2 cars on the lot, we establish that the other car is here.
Yeah.
We know that the regular car is here. Like, did they just have to do a 2-seater sports car or a battle, like a moving battle tank?
Didn't we see
I don't know why they
everybody
take a
in
tank.
Scott's car? Like, can't Scott's
Yeah,
car, like, it can hold, like,
at
six
the end of
people
the
or
Forge
something.
episode.
Yeah.
They were all in that car. Yeah. It's really
Fucking
weird.
bizarre, dude. This has
And
got to
here's
be...
the thing.
This has got to be a toy thing, right? This is just a tie-in, right?
Yeah, selling the mutant cruiser or whatever. Like, you might be listening, you're like, oh, maybe they shows up later. Maybe it's important that they have, like, a command vehicle. No, that doesn't happen. They get out of the car immediately when stuff starts happening.
It's very funny to me.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good.
I'm trying to find if they've got if they actually have a toy of this, but it's just all of the figures. I can't find any vehicles.
Yeah, I know there's a Wolverine with a motorcycle that came with the series, but I don't know if there's the APC. Maybe they were feeling ambitious. They thought there'd be a toy. The execs are like, more vehicles.
I'd actually looked at these. Like, a lot of the figures come with their school outfit, so you could do a little, like, it's like little shitty cloth uniforms for Cyclops.
Yep.
I want my guy to dress up like high school.
Yep. It is like really X-Men Barbies in some ways. Just them having social situations, which is fine. It's just not what it's kind of purported as.
Man, the proportions on these guys, because they're matching the comics, just make them terrifying. Have you seen Quicksilver?
No. I used to. My buddy Austin had the Nightcrawler as just kind of a desk, a desk toy, like a coffee table toy that I used to play with, and it was really weird. But I have not seen the Quicksilver one.
Yeah, I just DM'd you that on the old Discord. So.
Oh, hey. Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. So yeah, they leave. They're like, we can't find Jean. Hopefully she didn't get orbed when nobody was looking. And again, this sounds like a nitpick, but you have Xavier. Like, Xavier doesn't have to think to do this. He just does it, and he just chooses not to. Yeah.
To look for all of his kids. Who can keep track of them? There's 7 kids. So they get to the beach. The Wolverine, Cyclops, and Professor X are one of our teams.
Oh, just real quick, like, as the kids are leaving, like, a cat turns into Mystique, and she, like, calls somebody. It's like, they're on their way, they're on the move, or whatever. So
yeah. So, and we've seen that cat before. It's like Chekhov's cat.
Yes.
So they're on the beach doing some extremely amateur detective work, looking at like big footprints in the sand. Bringing their master tracker to this, and Scott, is angsting about this whole thing. Xavier's looking for Alex at this point. And then we switch over, or Magneto actually shows up here before this. Magneto takes the Blackbird and tosses it.
Yeah, Xavier is trying to communicate with Eric, and in response, he just grabs the plane and like starts swirling it around. I'm like, fucking hey, dude. Hell yeah. That's great.
And Wolverine's answer is to go jump onto the plane, leaving Cyclops alone, because again, nobody is worried about kids in this show. Like,
I really like, they do this weird zoom into Scott. I think, and there's a point where they just like show Scott on the beach, and he's like looking up, like, "What the fuck?" And I really thought he was going to be like, "What the fuck, guys? What just happened?"
Like, I'm 16.
Am I being pranked? Is Ashton Kutcher here?
when they reveal what he's actually looking at, it's Alex.
Yes.
So Alex comes down and he's reunited. They hug and everything, and this is where they kind of talk it out, where Alex says, like, no, Magneto's actually awesome. I have powers like you do. Magneto's awesome. He's going to help with us.
And he's very much into Magneto, and he leads Scott over to a waiting orb, and they both get into the orb, and it flies off. So
yep. And Scott's just basically, he isn't sold on Magneto. He knows Magneto's bad news, but he's like, I will go just to convince you. He's not going to give up his long lost brother. I'm fine with that. Like, I think it makes sense for Scott to go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it's your brother. Like, you haven't seen this dude in forever. Like, you're going to want to hang out with that dude. And, like, presumably Magneto kidnapped Xavier, so you're going to see Xavier on the other side of the orb, right? Like, I mean, that's probably something that's going to happen.
I got to hang out with Alex long enough to loan him a shirt with sleeves. So, like...
Also, we're not going to see it yet, but like, Alex brought some dope gear in the orb. Like, he's got some matching jackets because we're brothers, and that's how you dress when you're brothers.
Yep, jacket bros.
Jacket bros for life.
Bros. Yep.
So in the plane, Xavier is like trying to steady it, and Wolverine is trying to like claw his way inside. And then Eric is just, I guess, is Eric just thinking real hard at Xavier? Is that how this is happening? Like, what the mechanism? Like, what is happening? Like, he's like giving a speech to Xavier, like Xavier gives any fucks whatsoever. Like, I just presume that he's already heard all of this shit before.
Yeah, Yep. While Wolverine, so he's giving that speech while Wolverine's trying to get in, and then Magneto, and to be fair to these episodes of this cartoon, this is X-Men shit.
Yeah, sure.
Magneto showing up and bending Wolverine's claws and giving him the you foolish man, you're made of metal, why do you keep doing this, is X-Men as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a really great thing where his claws are through the roof of the Blackbird, and Magneto just bends them, wraps them around the thing, and that looks like it hurts like hell, because again, those are bones.
Yeah.
Being broken inside there, and then tosses Logan into the ocean.
Which is very funny.
So,
it's a pro Magneto move. It's the coolest thing we've seen on this show in, let me check, 11 episodes.
Yeah, Magneto is definitely the MVP of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
here's a bewildering fucking scene, because, remember Storm? The show does every once in a while, and here's a scene where we remember one of the major X-Men for some reason. She comes home and there's the cat. She sees the cat. It's not implied that this is their cat or anything. Their cat turns into Mystique and they fight. And she's kind of wondering where everyone is at. And Mystique thinks that she can go toe to toe with Storm for some reason. But Storm shoots lightning.
Yeah. This scene where Mystique like does a jump kick and Storm is like, lightning, and just sends her flying. I'm like, why would you ever pick a fight with Storm in this case?
No.
I mean, we don't know that she can do cool knife shit like she does in the comics. So just don't get next to her. She's terrifying.
Yep. And you were a cat. You could have just taken her out without announcing your presence. Also, I watched these a couple weeks ago, so I have them on in the background to remind me. In the Xavier Mansion, they have some fine art up on the walls that's just a picture of a shed. A painting of just a plain ass shed. It's cool, Xavier.
Yeah.
Cool shed.
I have a Picasso original. Oh, really? Which one? It's just the shed. It's just the shittiest Picasso painting that there is.
They're basically already cubes. It was super easy.
So I think from here we go to Rogue. I think they're on the way to the beach and they're enjoying a nice ocean breeze when the bad kids, when the Brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Mutants show up and run them off the road or try to.
And they're just driving an army jeep.
Yeah.
So they have, comparatively, it's restraint, but it is an army jeep.
It is an army jeep, which is weird for delinquents in a high school to have. I guess Mystique hooked them up. And they managed to finally run him off the road despite Spike's efforts to put out their headlights. Good job, Spike.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ.
You know how daytime it is, right?
Yeah. You know how you're wearing sunglasses right now? What the fuck is wrong with you, Spike?
Well, I thought it was dark because the sunglasses. Just okay, Spike. Somehow Xavier's dumbest student right here.
They eventually run him off the road where they run into the Blob. And before we get to see badly animated fights, we go over to Logan, who's crawling out of the water onto the beach to meet Sabretooth.
Yes.
We're setting up a lot of fights here, Gary. We're doing a lot of setup.
Yeah, and none of which are good. So Xavier, at this point, so we see Sabretooth, we don't get the fight yet. We get Xavier, who is brought over to this this kind of floating rock here, and we find out this is where we reveal Magneto. We get to see his dorky white guy face.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier's been kidnapped, and he's in space on Asteroid M, a place he calls Sanctuary.
So are they in space? Because they're showing the Aurora Borealis.
They are, yeah. But they show. So it does look like the Arctic, but there's an establishing shot of it in space.
Okay,
as well.
It's just it's just kind of high up, basically. It's not. It's kind of in between. So yeah.
They didn't have the budget for space.
They're saving space for season 4. Season 4 space, just like the Good Place. That's what's going to happen.
The Teen Shi'ar, Shi'ar teens, aka the neutrinos from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So,
what?
Yeah, but Magneto, boy, I just in this art style, he looks like horse shit. I do not like how he looks in this.
No, his chest looks. Everybody's chest looks weirdly huge in this show, but for some reason, his uniform, his outfit, sticks out really far, protrudes in a real bad looking way. And other than that, he just looks like kind of a younger guy that has white hair. So
he's definitely too young.
Yeah,
which is a big problem, and that doesn't happen with Xavier, who doesn't look too young. Probably just by virtue of being bald, right? It's just a trick. Everyone kind of skews younger on this show in general. But that is it definitely doesn't work for Magneto, who needs to have some like presence.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think.
Magneto says that basically goes into this whole like, oh, the X-Men are fighting all of their enemies, and whoever wins will gather on Asteroid M, and we will introduce the human race to mutants or whatever. And Xavier's like, nah, man, that seems like a bad idea. Like, we didn't even know there was a game, and like, you didn't even tell us we started. You didn't say go.
Yeah, this isn't fair. And so this is confusing a bunch of different plots. It's like Magneto taking mutants up to Asteroid M for Sanctuary is X-Men. But him holding a tournament and only taking the fittest is a different X-Men villain. Like that's extremely Apocalypse. And like a million other storylines. Like this is like X-Men, Academy. This is like Contest of Champions, all that shit. They're just kind of rolling it in to this. This is like the original Secret Wars. It's really weird for Magneto to pit mutants against each other and only take the strongest ones.
And to be like, and to take the X-Men, like you've already got a bunch of like mutants that you could just put into your like weird genetic chamber and make strong. Like this is all so very pointless. Like it doesn't make any sense that he would do it. And like Mystique is an ally, right? Like she's been your direct helper for 11 episodes now. And you're just gonna leave her behind because she doesn't have
because
lightning
she can't
powers?
fight lightning.
Yeah, because she got a poor seed in a tournament of dumbass. I mean, like what is what? Like it's not her fault that she went directly to Omega level mutant Storm. Like,
she at least got a buy round.
Maybe next time you could put her against Jean Grey. Jesus, like make it fair.
Like there are no X-Men that Mystique needs to fight directly. No senior level X-Men, right?
No,
because that's how Mystique's powers work. Like she's not a fighter. And also, Magneto should appreciate that. Like, this is such a shitty incarnation of Magneto.
Yeah.
And a good Magneto is necessary for good X-Men media, right? Even the worst X-Men movies have a pretty good Magneto. Even in like shitty Apocalypse, like the stuff with Magneto, like trying to start a new life and everything, like that's one of the highlights of that movie. In X-Men 3, Magneto is not great in that, but the performance is still good. And it makes sense what he's doing. He's trying to stop the cure.
Yeah.
He's trying to stop the place that's trying, like he's philosophically coherent. Like the reason why Magneto is like a better villain than like any of like the Spider-Man villains or any, Batman villains. I mean, maybe not Batman, but any Spider-Man villains or whatever, is that he's philosophically coherent. And this is not a philosophically coherent Magneto.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And I've been waiting this whole season for this to happen because all of the other stakes up until this point have been piddly shit. And I'm like, when will they get to the actual plot? And the actual plot is Magneto wants to pit mutants against each other, take the strongest ones and put them in a machine to make them even stronger. And then, show like fight humanity with them.
Question mark, profit is what the rest of that plan is. I mean, like it doesn't make, what is the next step? And it's also something you and I have talked about, which is like, do people know mutants? Like we have confirmed here that like Xavier's like, no, man, I want to be introduced to humanity as like friends, not as enemies.
Yeah.
And so they don't know, like the humans don't know about mutants, which makes all of the school stuff even fucking weirder. Like nobody questions any of this stuff at the schools. And like, why don't you do that? It's so fucking weird.
Yeah. It's not good. Like it is just not a very well told story. At the end of the day. It does like back explain why the bad kids, right? So it doesn't explain the recruitment, right? Because there's no reason for Magneto and Mystique to be like recruiting specific kids if they're just going to make all the kids basically fight to see which ones are stronger. Like, unless he's like literally making a fighting game, But it does explain why the bad kids are such shits, right? If they had any idea of this plan, like it definitely explains why they're aggressive now. And if they've been being told like, hey, if you're really powerful, this deep voiced nerd is going to take you up into space and give you a jacket. Like maybe that explains why they've been such dicks, but it's not very good. It like backports an explanation onto something that was, and it's not a good explanation. It just is an explanation. While this is happening, the kids are back at the beach. Blob just picks up their car, dumps them onto the ground like he's emptying out a trash can, and then Avalanche just buries them all in sand.
Dope. Extremely good.
That was quick.
Good job, X-Men.
Yeah.
Danger Room never trained y'all for beaches, huh?
Just the sand. It seems to be getting into. And then the X-Men get out of the sand, And then they get into another limp X-Men Evolution fight.
Yeah.
Here.
So Blob crushes Kitty, who obviously just goes, I want to say translucent because I just watched the Boys TV show. And there's a character called Translucent on there. God damn it.
That's a very funny idea for a power. Kind of invisible. Yeah.
And the fact that's the weird thing about that. The Boys is good, by the way. I think you would dig.
Yeah. I it's been on my list to watch. I've been I was down for the weekend and I watched a bunch of TV and a bunch of movies, and that almost started watching that, and I ended up reading comics instead. So I was doing something comic related at the very least.
Good,
but it's on my list.
But yeah, he goes full invisible, and like several times people are like, that's not what translucent means, right? Like several times. Yeah, like that's not how that works. Kitty is so grossed out when she passes through Blob that she just passes out, which I find is like the dumbest way to go. But also, like, she's 16 at this point, right? Like, I mean, she's maybe 16. I think she's a little younger than all the other mutants, so maybe 14, 15. And like passing through the inside of a human body, especially if it's the Blob, is probably the grossest thing you've ever done. So,
but does she keep her eyes open? I don't know. Like, I never really
it was
understood
a surprise, right? Like she didn't know it was coming. So,
guess that's true. As they continue to fight, the X-Men are absolute chumps. Like, Spike literally gets taken out by being buried in the sand, like he's a fucking Huey Lewis in the News video. And basically all the X-Men lose except for Rogue.
Yes.
And the bad kids look up, and here come some orbs.
Yep.
And then we cut away to more Mystique and Storm fights, where Storm is just wiping the floor with Mystique even further. Like, Mystique comes back, does a ninja kick to nothing in particular, and Storm just like freezes her and lightnings her again. Because you're way outclassed here, Mystique.
They really lean into Mystique's like ninja abilities, and it's just like the animation style is so weird and kind of stilted in some cases that it just comes out as like somebody is like she's a puppet almost, like someone is puppeteering her through a ninja thing. She got Sekiro'd, is what I'm saying. She got fucking Sekiro'd.
Yep. So after Storm wins, for just people who have not quite figured it out, Storm wins, then Orb comes to take Storm. So Storm has been orbed. Sabretooth and Wolverine are having a limp beach fight, at this point, just kind of at a stalemate. All the orbs arrive at Asteroid M, and Magneto tells Xavier that Storm's coming. A storm is coming, rather, for mutant kind.
Xavier's like Storm, and he's like, no,
Storm. A storm. Sorry. But he's been kidnapping people because he's going to make this storm happen. So he's going to do his plan to fight humanity or whatever. And he shows that he has tubes that he's keeping Storm, Jean, and Rogue in for the X-Men who have won their respective battles.
Mm-hmm. And then all the bad kids show up. The stinger at the end of this episode is that Alex and Scott arrive, having doffed identical jackets and gloves for the occasion. For their weird trip through the orb. Like they just stopped at like a Mervin's on the way. They just stopped.
They look like they're like Top Gun.
Yeah,
they like Maverick and Goose. Yeah,
it's very funny to me. But they and then Scott is obviously with Alex, and this is treated like Scott has completely changed teams, and Xavier is shocked at this. And like, I mean, again, one of those things that's not a real thing, because you're literally just going to have a conversation about it, and Scott's going to be like, oh my god, you have trapped you've kidnapped and put my girlfriend in a sleeping tube. Like, this is not the team I want to be on.
I'm not into this. But it's treated as if he's turned bad. Nothing has been laid, no track has been laid for this, right? Imagine a version of this where like Scott was wrestling with his doubts with Xavier's dream or whatever. Anything to set this up.
I mean, they could have done that. Like, we had a piece of that with when Scott was questioning like why they were training to fight Rogue, right? In the danger room, and kind of questioning Xavier's decision, and also like having like knowing the truth about Kurt's past, and like they're just not doing that. Like, the problem here
they're not doing the work.
That they actually have laid the ground, but then they don't, like, this Scott doesn't go through this problem. Like, he doesn't actually have the issue, and it's so weird. I immediately thought that's where all this was going, and it just doesn't happen.
I've been thinking about it, because it's like, whenever you see one of these shows and like, oh, they're not doing the things that they're supposed to be doing, a good question to ask is like, what they do instead, And I think a big problem with this show ultimately is that the cast is too big for this, by trying to give kind of equal time to the bad kids and making them like not straight up, they're trying to make them, not one dimensional, and managing to stretch them into two dimensional. It just, there's not enough time for any of this like character development or anything. This season is both like boring as hell and rushed. Like it's very strange.
Yeah,
like the kind of structure of it. Like it's really bland. They don't do anything exciting, and yet they still get to the end of it without any like good talks or characterization.
Yeah,
I don't know how they pull that off.
It's extremely weird.
Too many montages to music and Sabretooth fights.
Yeah.
We
didn't even talk about the weird like scene cuts that they do where it flashes 4 or 5 times like bright white and we see like scenes of the X-Men fighting stuff and it's just like, what? Why are you doing this for a scene transition, my man? Like this makes no sense. What are you doing?
I don't know.
All right, bring us into episode 2 or 12.
So this is the finale, Cauldron Part 2. Magneto holds multiple battles. Very like passive sentence. To find out which mutants are worthy of joining him on Asteroid M.
I like that even the IMDb summary of this puts "worthy" in quotation marks.
Yeah, worthy.
Like, what are we actually proving here? That we could beat one dude up. I love that we start out with Toad, and he's just really, really sad because he's like, "Man, I'm a good dude. Like, yeah, I mean, I eat flies, and I've got this dope ass tongue. Like, I deserve to go there. Like, it's just, I think I got this killer tongue. That's what it is.
Yeah,
and it's just the funniest. Like him trying to him being kind of sad, but also proud of himself is very funny.
Yeah, trying to justify to himself, that he didn't get taken. The other kids who didn't get taken show up. Most of the X-Men kids show up and are like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on?" They actually own him and like he sticks out his tongue to get a fly. Nightcrawler grabs it and starts pulling on it really hard, and it looks incredibly painful. Like it's just like really nasty. And he tells him the plan. So and this is one of those things too that happens all the time in like badly paced and written media where the viewer knows what's going to happen or knows what's happening. And the characters are way behind, so you have to watch the characters learn the stuff you already know.
What is the opposite of dramatic irony, right? Like,
exactly, yeah. Like it's a real bummer. Yeah. It kills our pacing, kind of thing. So Scott, of course, is not okay with his. He's not a bad person. He's not good with his friends being kidnapped. He demands they're released. And Magneto, in just like super clear villain mode, is like, "They're all safe. Don't worry about the tubes."
Like he's in straight up villain mode, like just like you said. Like it's crazy when he notices. I like this too. When he notices, Xavier, because Xavier telepathically asks Scott, he's like, "Are they really safe, Scott? Or is anybody safe with Magneto?" Like he's about to go into a full launch thing, and Magneto's like, "Oh no," and just slams him into a sleep tube. just
sends him into a tube. And Xavier, if you didn't put your hand up to your head when you did your power, no one would know. My dude, you don't have to visually show it.
You could just do it.
Yeah, you're the most powerful telepath in the world. He also, so the kind of load-bearing thing that happens in this is right before being sent into the sleep tube, Xavier tells Logan he has to throw the fight because he doesn't want Logan to end up in a tube.
Yeah, sure. He needs Logan on the outside.
Yep. Scott is about to zap Magneto. He's got his hand on his glasses, but Alex calms him down.
Yeah, it's nice.
And he's like, "Okay, I'm now pro tube." Logan throws the battle. Like he kind of just like sleepwalks or whatever. He just trusts Xavier, at this point, or plays dead rather. And Sabretooth orbs. And then Logan sees a helicopter. This is after some more kind of, lifeless fighting.
I love the fact that Sabretooth took a helicopter to this random beach, then was like, "Oh, I you could just take the helicopter to the Arctic, my man. You ain't got to go via orb. Like it's easy."
Yeah. I love the idea of Sabretooth piloting a helicopter.
Same, absolute same. Because especially if you think about like the X-Men 1 movie Sabretooth, where he's just a complete and utter fucking dumbass. Like that dude knows how to pilot something.
Yep.
So the kids get home, they find the mansion completely trashed, and they find Mystique there. She basically says, like, "I'm going to go get Magneto because he should have never passed me over. I shouldn't even be competing." And then Logan's like, "Okay, like, I'm here now, and I'm going to take the kids, and we're going to take our super fast space plane." And Mystique's like, "Well, we can go, but as long as I'm in charge." And he's like, "All right, you can stay." She's like, "Well, fine, but I demand to be consulted." And I'm like, "What are we watching?" I mean, I know she's a principal, but like, are we doing the full like vice principals thing with her? Like, what is this?
You're not principal of the rubble. Like, you're not principal of the mansion, Mystique.
Maybe this is why Magneto doesn't want you around, because you keep asking about consultation fees. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Well, and also, like, it's so frustrating because, like, Mystique is right. It was dumb of Magneto to do this, right? Like, it's shitty of him to take his most loyal servant and be like, well, if she can't fight lightning, she's out. Like, yes, she's right, but it's very hard to care. It's very hard to be like, oh, Mystique is a good character who, like, has a good point about Magneto and stuff. Like, no, she should never have been following Magneto. Magneto shouldn't have done this. It's idiotic. And, she should have known, like, at this point. Like, he probably told her his plan. She had to be recruiting people, So, like, I don't know. It's frustrating. They all get in their brand new Superjet, which is not the Blackbird, called the XM Velocity, which is a show on satellite radio.
It's got to be, right? Like,
definitely.
It's the Nick Kroll character from Parks and Rec. Is
sure.
Velocity, right? I can't remember.
Yep.
It's something in the douche, but I can't remember the guy's name at all.
Yeah.
So we go over to Scott, who is like remembering the plane crash. The kids, the small children, the way they're drawn look extremely anime to me. Like, they have huge eyes, and I know. And look, anime people, like, we know, we get it, we know.
Yeah,
but it's just they look so weird compared to all of the adults in the shot that it was very jarring for me. I've always liked Scott's, like, the visualization of Scott's, like, history with this plane crash that's going down, and they have to put the kids in the parachutes. There's only 2 parachutes because Scott's dad is a fucking idiot. Because
they're bad. Because Corsair is a shitty dad.
Because Corsair is a shitty pilot and a shitty dad.
Yeah.
Also, he's named Corsair. But yeah, they send the kids out, and of course, the kids are terrified, and then they get separated because Scott's parachute catches on fire. In the middle of this, Alex comes over, and then, like, he's like, I'm just remembering my past. He's like, do you want to remember it together? And he just, I guess, do they hold hands and, like, both think about the worst thing that ever happened to them? I mean, what is this? Who does this?
Yeah, just jacket. You wouldn't understand. You don't have anybody with a matching jacket.
That's true. I do not have a jacket boy to work with.
Yeah. So that they have their bonding moment here, which I guess is necessary for Cyclops to go along with this fucking insanity.
Yeah.
That's coming here. So Alex is in pain from being a mutant. I don't think everyone is in pain, but I think Alex specifically is, Okay. And this is fine. This works with, like, him because he gets that suit to channel his powers. I can kind of see.
Cool. Yeah, I guess that. It's just weird that it manifests as joint pain. Like, it's very,
it's like very geriatric. Like, you might have shingles or be a mutant.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, you're 13, so I'm leaning towards mutant, but you don't know.
Yeah,
could be anything. Yeah.
Go to your Walgreens to get tested.
Magneto has promised Alex he can fix it, and Magneto explains that he can fix it because he has a gem. Is this the Juggernaut thing?
Yeah, I think it's the Gem of Cyttorak. It's either the Gem of Cyttorak or the Macran crystal. It's a named gem. And I don't remember which one it is. I thought it was Cyttorak, which is fucking weird.
Because they did Juggernaut and didn't do that.
No gems.
He's just a mute. What?
Yeah. I don't know. But he has a gem, and he sends people into a genetic enhancer, which is like a hall of light. Mm-hmm. With these gems,
with like a pizza caddy on it, right? Like, because there's like a conveyor belt in it. I just couldn't help but think so that you've got like a pizza oven that you've put a Cyttorak gem into and made a mutant thing,
but for children, yeah.
Yes.
And they send Sabretooth through first. Like, see, it's safe. This maniac will go through it.
Because Magneto says he's already gone through it, right? Like, he's like, okay, I'm good.
Which again, this is why Magneto has white hair in this version of Magneto. Has to be. Scott's like, well, okay, let my friends out of tubes. He's like, well, not until you've done this experiment. And Sabretooth comes out as a weird caveman with a WWF belt.
I don't like the promise of this thing is it's supposed to evolve you to your most advanced mutant powers and give you complete control over them. So, like, you're not struggling with having to hold back your powers. Obviously, like, Scott can't control his powers, so he has to wear the glasses or whatever.
Yeah.
But Sabretooth goes in with the
damage
shirt
that he has?
Yeah, I don't know. Sabretooth goes in with a shirt and then comes out without one. Like, that seems to be his advanced move. I don't understand. Like, and look, Sabretooth is not like a well-developed character in this by any stretch of the imagination. Like, all we know is that he hates Wolverine.
Ever. To be fair,
or ever.
Right?
Yeah, like Sabretooth is Sabretooth is, I mean, his name is Sabretooth, y'all. Like, let's be real. But he just, like you said, he just comes out as like a slightly bigger Sabretooth that looks like a wrestler, and that's it.
Yeah. Shirtless, more savage, like more, looks like a barbarian, you know. And I don't understand why, like, neither Alex nor Cyclops have been driven by a lust for power at any given point during this. Like, it's not like they're saying like, oh, this will help you become your ultimate form and stuff. Do either of them seem like they give a shit about their ultimate form?
No, like Cyclops hasn't even complained that he doesn't have control over his mutant powers, right? Like he's very well adjusted in this show. And the beginning of this episode, he was super excited because it was Friday. It was fucking Friday, and he was a teenager.
Those happen all the time.
I mean, that was it. He just drove home in a rad fucking sports car from his super simple high school with a hot redhead next to him, and got out of the car and left her in it because it was Friday. Like, that's the extent of his bullshit. He's not upset. He's a well-adjusted kid. What is this?
It's very weird. So while this is happening, there's a little bit of exposition. The X-Men space jet is on the way. It's not made of metal. So just so we know why Magneto can't just crumble it in the air. Alex and Scott start going into the tubes together. And Magneto wakes up the rest of the X-Men from his sleeping tubes, which I guess he can just do, using metal. So they can watch, because he's a weird sadist, not a principled person with a point in this show. Xavier tries to stop him. Listen, the machine will alter your mind, but it's too late. They're in the tube.
Yes.
And herein lies, in some ways, the greatest thing this show has ever done, and in some other ways, the worst thing it's ever done. Like, it is very hard for me to believe it's going to come back from this.
It's so ridiculous. If you showed me a picture of the two people that walk out of this tube and said, guess which X-Men they are, I would have said, like, Guy, like Strongman from X Factor. Like, I guess he's twins now. I don't know what's happening. What's going on with Guy? But, like, he doesn't...
They go through the pizza conveyor belt, they get hit by lightning, and they come out, and... Like, I know this will be the art for the episode.
Oh yeah,
like it has to be, right? Like,
So
if you don't usually look at that, you have to look at it. You just have to.
It's embedded. Like, look at your phone right now. Like, it's gonna be on there.
It's fucking it's fucking incredible. So this thing that enhances their mutant powers, makes them into adults, like ages them up, 15 years, gives them white hair, and puts on about 50 pounds of muscle.
It is the strangest fucking thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is...
They
I'll give it this. It's unpredictable. Like, I was like, they're just kind of going through the plots. I did not expect the Beefy Boy Summer Brothers in this.
It's the Thicc Summer Brothers, man. Like, they have
it's gonna be a thick summer.
They have necks. Or no, excuse me. They no longer have necks. Like,
they do have necks, but they're bigger. They're wider than their head. Like, the base of their neck is like, has a good, like, 4 inches, 2 inches on either side, wider than the top of their head. They have such neck. And they both, now they're wearing turtleneck shirts. Like, their clothing changed from this machine as well.
Yeah.
Like, they sized up. Like, this is a machine that takes your pants and changes them from like a 32 to a 38.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And adjust the inseam too, because I just pulled it up because I wanted to remember to save a screenshot of this, and like, Havoc's packing. Like, that dude, the advanced human X-Men evolution is that he got a big old donger, Gary.
This is exactly like Sorry to Bother You. Like, have you seen that?
I still haven't seen that. No.
Oh man, I don't want to spoil it, but first of all, you gotta see it. It's super good. Mm-hmm. So I won't say anything, but people are listening know what I'm referring to.
They get totally new clothes.
Yep.
They get totally new necks. Like, they're rocking turtlenecks. God damn it, Gary. I wish they were rocking chains with their turtlenecks. Like, I wish this was a full-on Lonely Island situation, because turtlenecks and chains would be, oh my God, that'd be so good.
They came out with their ears pierced.
Yeah.
They came out with tattoos. Like, it just like basically turns them into Ed Hardy. Like the Ed Hardy boys.
They don't look anything like... I mean, Cyclops kind of has, like, Cyclops glasses, right?
And similar haircut.
Yeah.
If not the same.
I guess. Like, it's... I can't really... But, I mean, it seems like Havoc just has a mullet now for no reason. What is happening with right now, Gary? Can we make Xavier go through this? Like, I want to see this transformation with every single person.
I really want to see this, too. Like, I want to see, like Mystique just turns into a Ditto from Pokemon. Oh, like, I really would like to see every character, not just in the X-Men, but fiction, go through the pizza tube, Magneto's pizza tube.
I want to see Cole Ross go through this tube.
Yeah, what would Cole be if he had his mutant powers enhanced? Like, thicker Cole Ross with white hair. Yeah.
Oh man.
absolutely ridiculous. They come out, white hair and stuff. Cyclops takes off his glasses and he's got perpetual super pissed, like he's super scowling. And Magneto's like, the machine also purged you of emotions. And what is your fucking goal, Magneto?
What
are you doing?
Yeah, what is any of this? Also, I love the fact that he's like, Cyclops, show us the color of your eyes. And because you see, and like he takes off the thing and like his eyes are just black dots. Like they don't even bother to draw pupils. And this was the line.
Just irises, yeah.
It's just fucking dumb.
The one thing I'll say is the rest of the team reacts to this appropriately. There's a great pan across all the people in the sleep tubes just being like, oh shit, this is weird.
Jean just holds up a sign that says, I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah, just like I can't have my new 42-year-old divorced dad energy boyfriend. Like,
fucking so strange.
Cannot do. So, luckily an alarm goes off. The plane is approaching. Magneto tries to pull it out of the air, but it's not made of metal. And there's a great thing too where the Magneto sends the Thicc, the new Summers brothers to deal with the plane. On the plane, they get this little zoom in on their view screen to the Summers brothers, and everyone on the plane is like, "Who's that? Oh my god!" Who
the fuck is that?
Who are these guys? Magneto got himself a couple of strong lads.
Right before this, there's a moment where Magneto tried to grab the plane with and realizes it's not metal, and he looks over at Xavier, and Xavier gives him this little shrug, like this impish little like
ain't I a stinker? For some reason, the Summers brothers, their powers have different colors now.
Yes.
They're yellow and blue instead of red.
Mm-hmm. They're advanced. They're evolved or whatever. That's what Pokemon do, right? I've never actually played a Pokemon game, so I mean, I'm assuming
basically. Basically,
that little yellow fucker like changes color, right? Like he shoots lightning, and now then he shoots blue stuff or something. Yeah.
There's a blue. There's a blue Pikachu for some reason.
Okay.
They crash into the hangar, which just makes me think of like airlocks, right? Like I'm just gonna ignore the fact that they had to take a space plane here, but they're not in space anymore. They crash through.
I mean, wait, hold on, because at the end of this episode, they fall off asteroid M. So, they has to be it has to be directly above
low
the
orbit,
ground, right?
Maybe you're right. Like they've shown space with a background for it a couple times. Like they've shown establishing shots of it in space.
But again, they fall off of asteroid M at the end of this episode.
No, you're right. I just, I don't blame you. I blame the creators of X-Men Evolution. So I don't, Well,
I'm taking it fucking personally, Gary. What a heel turn to reveal that I've been writing X-Men Evolution this entire time.
Amazing. So they show up, they crash in there. Mystique jumps out of the thing, says knock knock, and starts kung fu fighting Magneto, and holds her own.
Yeah.
During this whole time in a way that I do not fucking get. Like, if Mystique can't beat Storm, you cannot beat Magneto. I mean, and she doesn't beat Magneto. She holds her own for a long time.
I mean, presumably she's standing on metal, right?
There's metal everywhere.
And Magneto chooses to use his power by holding two bars, right? He's just got two iron bars that he's twirling around and trying to hit her with. And I'm like, she is standing. Make a cage around her right now. Use your power.
Just getting kicked. So this is a big fight. Wolverine frees the sleep tube people, and there's a big fight between good guys versus bad guys. It's not great. There's this scene where Spike, who they fail to make seem effective or good at any point during this, Quicksilver's running circles around him because that's his move, and Spike makes a big line of spikes in the ground, which he just kind of stops to taunt, and then Rogue takes his powers. Yeah,
because we've seen this Spike Quicksilver fight 4 or 5 times on the show now, and every time Quicksilver gets the best. And during this episode, Quicksilver is fucking with Spike about it, oh, you can't catch me, we're back here again. And Spike's like, well, I've got some new moves, and he makes a line of spikes, and Quicksilver's even Quicksilver's what the fuck is this?
This is what you always do.
This is a bad plan, Evan.
This is similar to the Mystique Storm matchup. Spike should not be against Quicksilver in this thing. So again, more fights. Xavier and Jean are trying to hold the maybe station, maybe not, together. Mystique gets thrown into the pizza tube, and Magneto goes to chase her.
Mm-hmm. And also
because
gets thrown into the pizza tube.
Yep.
They finally get the Thicc boys out of the rubble, and then Scott is immediately like, "You guys are ruining everything. You're terrible people."
Yeah.
And Jean's like, "Fuck off, dude." And Xavier's like, "Yeah, man,
Yeah.
fuck off." And they literally just like leave. Like they're not even going to bother to save Scott and Alex. And I fucking love it. It's because he wants these Proud Boys around. Like Gary, you fucking know. As soon as they got those necks, they're getting the All Lives Matters tattoo. They're wearing thin blue line t-shirts. They're gonna start collecting AR-15s because this is the hell world we live on. They came out of that tube with a Reddit account, Gary. They came out of that tube with a fucking Reddit
signs
account.
You up. They're going to go join Iceman, and in this continuity, Iceman actually works for Immigration Services.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And abolish Iceman.
Oh god, Bobby Drake is literally being an ICE agent is.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, everything's blowing up.
Yeah.
They're getting out of there. Mystique actually does come out. When I said I wanted to see Mystique, I forgot she does come out, and she comes out very strong, like female bodybuilder strong, but she has scales like she does in the movies.
Yes. And also totally different outfit, which I find hilarious.
Yeah, different haircut.
Yeah.
There's
a stylist
totally
in
different
there.
haircut.
There's a stylist.
Yeah, new outfit, new haircut. New Reddit account.
I'm curious. Oh no, the show explains this. Never mind. Because because I was be curious how they're going to handle that going forward, but they get rid of all of the stuff they're right at the end of the episode.
It all wears off. So Magneto's plan, even if it had worked, wasn't great.
Well, we're going to see it, but they're going to blow up Asteroid M, and then that like reverts all of this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, was the machine maintaining something? Like, what the fuck? How does that? Even in super science, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that
is some extreme, like, just or like, if you get amnesia in a sitcom, you just have to get bonked on the head again to undo it. Like it is that kind of thing. Like the everyone's falling out. The Summers Beef Boys fall out, and one thing I kind of like about it is like this kind of mirrors they're falling out of the plane, right? But they're adults now. They give each other like a big smile as they're falling to slow themselves down. It's really goofy looking, but I kind of like oh, this time we're here for each other.
Yeah.
As Avalon / Asteroid M starts falling out of the ground, they stop themselves. Jean pulls up, and is just like, it's not too late for you two. They use their powers to stop the asteroid from crashing into them.
Yes. Which in the process, like, reverts them back to just being normal teenage kids.
Blows it up, and 4 anonymous orbs flew out.
Yes.
So just remember, so anybody who thought maybe died, if whoever they want to bring back, they can bring back. They were in an orb.
And Scott's like, "Hey guys, I'm sorry. I turned into a beef boy, and I said some things about our current sitting president that maybe made some of you uncomfortable." And I just wanted to... Scott makes a fucking YouTube apology video right now is what's actually happening. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
I'm sorry. First off, I'm sorry to my fans. You're the most important people. And everyone's there was like, nobody here's a fan of you, Scott.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about the physics of you dropping 60 pounds of muscle
just
instantly.
2 seconds. Yeah.
Oh, are you okay? Like, can we get you to Beast to like, check you, medically.
So at this point, Havoc like is going to join up. Like Xavier gives a big speech and is like, we're gonna learn how to blah blah. I didn't even really pay attention to this. I'll be honest with you. I did
basically just we're gonna learn to coexist, et cetera, et cetera.
And then everybody
very
poses for
Magneto
like
stuff.
this 2-page spread, and then that's the end of the episode. It slowly fades to black. So
the bad kids are a little disillusioned with Magneto at this point as well. They haven't like joined the X-Men or whatever, but they are also a little put out by this whole thing about being betrayed by the evil side. And I gotta say, Jeremy, I fucking hate this show.
It's not good.
I didn't. For a long time during it, I was just kind of like, it like moves along at an okay pace. It's all right. But man, like, it's dumb. It is extremely dumb. Very dumb TV show where characters act with inconsistent motivations for no good reason, and then bad action happens and nothing is explored, and it adds up to nothing.
Oh man, I was kind of skimming through. I did this, I think, the last time I recorded, skimming through the season 2 episodes just to see like what up. And one of the episodes is the description is the female X-Men are fed up playing second fiddle and form a vigilante crime fighting group called the Bayville Sirens. I'm sure that's going to be handled extremely well.
Fuck, man.
Oh man.
Just you're losing it, man. Like it's just really bad. Is it? It is. Boy, not Avengers bad, but not Hulk good.
No.
Like that Hulk cartoon's better than this.
Yes.
You know, and that's a hard thing to say because that's not a really good cartoon. But it was a better cartoon than this. Like at least like, you know, it didn't feel as arbitrary as this does. So
this is just you know, like the Avengers cartoon was bad in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it was it was all over the place. This doesn't even feel like it's trying to do anything. And I think that's like, it feels like it's playing it safe on every single, like it very much feels like made by Committee. And I know that gets thrown out a lot, but it definitely seems like this had to go through a bunch of people that just made it all completely watered down. And they're not taking any risk whatsoever with it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like when your second episode of season 2 is named Bada Bing Bada Boom. Like I don't know what you're doing.
Sure.
I don't know what you're
Bada
doing.
Boom Boom.
Yeah.
And like there's a joy to me like that's going to feature Boom Boom. I like Boom Boom as a character. This is borrowing against the, you know, my Goodwill account. You know, of X-Men stuff, right? So like, hey, Boom Boom, I've never seen Boom Boom in a cartoon. Like I like Boom Boom. You know, I like that character. That'll be cool. It's just pushing it.
Yeah.
With this shit. And it's like, I still, you know, if you're one of those people who've been like, it gets better, I still believe you. Like, I still think it can get better. Just maybe, you know, I like season 1. Either season 1 is worse than you remember, or I think season 1 is worse than you do. Because season 1 of this has been a pretty abject failure to me. Really disappointing. And it's very frustrating. You know, it's frustrating when something is bad. It's more frustrating when you're like, man, I wish this would get to the plot stuff. And then when it does, and it's this. You know, it's not just that the show is bad. It's like it's doing basically what I want, just in like a really, really inept way, which just feels bad.
Well, don't worry. We have some pretty great episodes coming up, like Blind Alley, where Jean is about to confess her love to Scott when Mystique abducts Scott and abandons him in the desert in Mexico.
Cool.
Oh, that's some X-Men shit right there, dude. That's some X-Men shit.
Christ.
Anyway.
And even the fact, so that happens, right? Like, I know that that's a jokey bad thing, and we don't know how it happened, right?
Sure, yeah. It could actually be good, yeah.
But my point being, like, doesn't it feel like something should change in the face of what happened in the Cauldron?
Yes.
Like, Mystique should not be torturing these kids now. Right? Because, you know, she is supposed to, maybe she went through, she's an emotionless super hunk, but the asteroid blew up, so she's not. Like, we only got to see that. We never got to see it in action. If she stays as the Emotiontron, you know, emotionless, Magneto pizza oven thing, then, you know, that's inconsistent. If she doesn't, if she turns back to normal, why is she still, like, a straight up bad guy after this? Like, these characters have to fucking change X-Men Evolution. Like, characters, if things happen that characters would learn from and they never learn from it, that's exceedingly bad storytelling.
Gary, why, number one, Xavier has always known that Mystique was the principal of the high school that his kids are attending. Like, that seems fucking incredibly stupid. But two, once all of the kids learn that their principal is a supervillain, why, are they petitioning the school board? Like, or what, is Superintendent Chalmers just like, no, I'm sorry, we can't fire her. She's got tenure or whatever. Like, why is she still working there? Much less any of the stuff that happens in the finale. So, yeah.
Nope, it doesn't make any sense. They're going to go back to, it's going to be like, I've mentioned this before, and I mentioned even on the show, with like the Harry Potter books, how there's like the 4th or 5th book, I can't remember which one, it ends with like, oh, we have to actually finally take the fight to Voldemort, et cetera, et cetera. And then the next book starts with like, it was another fall day in Hogwarts. Quidditch season was upon us. And it just like, they said shit gets real and then it doesn't get real. That's what this is going to do. Like, it feels like this should change everything. I guarantee season 2, episode 1 is going to be just high school hijinks, you know? And that is lame.
You know, it's not lame though.
What is that?
Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. Yeah.
Yes.
We're taking a break, folks. We debated doing it, but we need a break from the negativity as well. So we're going to do a 2-parter on Deadpool 2, which I think is easily one of the best X-Men movies.
Easily. Like top
easily,
tier.
which is crazy.
Maybe
like, I would never have thought that I liked like Deadpool, but it's one, it's an X-Men movie. It's definitely an X-Men movie. Two, it's really good.
Carrie, it might be the best X-Men movie.
Logan.
It might be
not counting Logan.
Might be the second best.
maybe second best. Like I
always forget about Logan. Yeah.
Logan. I don't think it touches Logan, but it might be the second best.
Did you ever watch the black and white version of Logan? Did you know they did that?
I have not watched it.
Yeah, I haven't either. I don't know if I will, but anyway.
I watched. What did I watch? I watched the Black and White Fury Road.
Yeah, I've got that downloaded too. I need to check that out at some point.
I liked the color version better. Like I liked the idea of it, but I was just like I like the weird bold colors in this movie more. So it's kind of novel, but it's not preferable to me. It's not superior.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this also just makes me want to rewatch Logan.
Yes.
But yeah, we're taking a break. So 2 episodes on Deadpool 2.
Yes. Those will be happening in 2 weeks. So keep your eyes out. Go watch Deadpool 2 if you haven't already, so you can keep up with the podcast. And then we'll get back into season 2 of X-Men Evolution. And if it's not good in the end of season 2, we'll just abandon. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to do that.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. Like I'll probably go down with the ship. Just know that like we're reacting honestly. If you're frustrated by the negativity, like, we're not putting on airs.
Yeah.
We're not AVG ending this. It's just not a good show. What can
Duckfest?
people do if they like the show? Duckfest.
Come to Duckfest. Yeah. They can also go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and kick us some dollars. You can donate those in support of canceling everything to Guppy or expanding Days of Future Cast into a WAF-like episode where we do 4-hour episodes on X-Men Evolution. So choose your dollars, choose your pledge wisely.
A line by line read.
Yeah, where we cover every single comic in depth. 1 hour on one page. That's the way we do it over here. Check that out. It's full of cool benefits, and it's a real easy and direct way to support the show. Also, ratings and reviews help us out a lot. Tell your friends about the podcast. I think that's it. Really?
Yeah, all that stuff is very appreciated.
Yeah.
So until next time, take care, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you.